Hey, beautiful souls. You know what's been on my heart lately? Those repeating patterns in our lives. The ones that feel like a subscription we never signed up for. The same relationship issues, money struggles, or that voice of self doubt that just won't quit. I've walked this path, hit those walls, and discovered something life changing about why we get stuck in these cycles. Today I'm sharing the real talk about breaking free from these patterns. Because you're ready. Your soul is ready. And this next part of your journey is going to change everything. Before we take a deep dive into transformation, here's our roadmap for today. First, we're going to get real about those struggles that keep showing up in your life. The ones, why your subconscious mind keeps playing them on repeat. Then I'll walk you through how to spot these hidden patterns. And trust me, once you see them, you can't unsee them. We'll break down those old stories and limiting beliefs that have been running the show. But the beautiful part is, we won't just break them down. I'm going to show you how to build new, empowering beliefs that align with who you truly are. And because I want you to succeed, I'm sharing practical tools that you can start using right away. These are the exact strategies that help me transform my own life, and I know they'll serve you too. Recurring struggles are challenges that people frequently encounter, often feeling trapped in cycles of negative experiences. Recognizing and understanding these struggles is the first step towards finding effective solutions. Many of us face common struggles such as anxiety, self doubt, and difficulty in relationships. These challenges can feel overwhelming and lead to a sense of hopelessness if not addressed. Now, here's something that really opened my eyes on my own healing journey, and I see this with people all the time. Your subconscious mind, it's like this powerful force running in the background of your life. Think about how many times you've said, I don't want to be like this anymore, or why do I keep doing this? You're smart, you're aware, you've done the work, yet somehow these patterns keep showing up. Now, this is because your subconscious is still running the old programs, old stories, and old wounds. It's not your fault. This isn't about willpower or trying harder. The truth is, until we shine a light on what's happening beneath the surface, we're going to keep hitting those same walls. But once you understand how your subconscious is keeping these struggles alive, is when the real shifts start happening. Now, the really beautiful thing is, once you have this awareness, once you see what's really going on, change becomes extremely possible and in a whole new way. You know what's wild? So many of the beliefs driving your life right now, they're not even yours. Think about it. That voice in your head saying money is hard to come by, well, maybe that was your dad's struggle during tough times. That feeling you're not good enough, it could be the echoes of how your mom was treated growing up. I remember in my own life, growing up as the youngest of 8 kids, watching my dad work endless hours because he believed success had to be hard. That belief got planted deep in my soul without me even realizing it. These hand me down beliefs from our families, our culture, they're like invisible scripts running our lives. The way we handle money, relationships, success. So much of it comes from what we absorbed growing up. But what changes everything is once you see these inherited patterns for what they really are, you can choose differently. They don't have to be your story anymore. I want to share something powerful with you. Have you ever noticed how you react the same way to certain situations? Maybe it's that instant defensive feeling when someone gives feedback, or that knot in your stomach when talking about money. I know I do. These reactions are like automatic pilots in our lives. And most of the times, we don't even realize that they're running the show. I see this all the time in my work, and I lived it myself. For years, I kept falling into the same relationship patterns, the same money struggles, without even really understanding why. My breakthrough came when I started catching these patterns in action, and you can too. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, we see what's been there all along. You start noticing your triggers, your go to responses, those moments when you're not choosing your reactions, they're choosing you. And that awareness is where your power begins. Because you can't change what you can't see, right? You know those moments when you catch yourself and think, why did I just do that again? That's what we're talking about here. These patterns, they're well known and well worn paths in your mind, the ones your thoughts and reactions automatically follow. Think about it like this. If you grew up in a home where love meant criticism for your own good, you might push away genuine care and support now. Not because you want to, but because your mind learned that pattern a long time ago. Thinking back on my own journey, I kept attracting relationships that left me feeling alone and unsupported. It wasn't random. It was a pattern from watching my dad work endless hours, missing moments when I needed him the most. My mind had learned that love and absence went hand in hand. These patterns feel so natural because they've been with us for so long. But what's important to know is this: just because they're automatic doesn't mean they're permanent. We're uncovering these patterns because I see them showing up in so many lives, including my own. That fear of failure that stops you from pursuing your dreams, that instinct to avoid difficult conversations even when they're needed, the perfectionism that keeps you stuck in planning mode instead of taking action. I lived with that fear of failure for years. Back in school, when I stopped doing homework and ended up in the principal's office every single day, it wasn't because I didn't care. It was because if I didn't try, I couldn't fail. Does this sound familiar? And perfectionism, this is tricky because it masks itself as high standards, but it actually keeps us playing small. You hear those whispers. Just one more revision. It's not quite ready yet. What will people think? These patterns feel like protection, but they're actually building walls between us and our dreams, between who we are now and who we're meant to become. And the good news is, once you spot the patterns in action, they start losing their grip on our lives. Now, you want to know what I've noticed? Both in my life and with so many people I work with, there are small telltale signs that we're stuck in a pattern. It shows up as that same overwhelming feeling that just won't go away. Those thoughts that keep circling in your head, telling you the same old story. In relationships, oh, I've lived this one. Different people, but somehow the same movie gets played out over and over again. Before I met my twin soul, my relationships kept hitting the same wall, me feeling unsupported and alone. Does this sound familiar to you? Here's what I want you to know. When you start spotting the patterns and notice yourself thinking, well, here we go again, that's actually a beautiful moment. It means you're waking up to what's been running in the background of your life. Because you can't change what you don't see, remember? Now, here's something I discovered on my journey. Changing these old habits takes two things: really seeing them for what they are, and having the courage to choose something different. And yes, it does feel scary. Trust me, I get it. I remember when I first started looking at my own beliefs about success and worthiness. Some of them went so deep, back to those days as a kid, feeling lost in a crowd of 8 siblings, thinking I wasn't important enough to be heard. Crazy thing is, once you understand where these beliefs come from, maybe from your family, maybe from tough experiences, they start losing the grip they hold on you. It's like turning on that light and realizing the scary shadow is just a coat hanging on the door. When you can start replacing these old stories with new ones that actually support who you're becoming, you really feel magic. And not because someone told you to, but because you're ready for a different way of being. Those beliefs that hold us back, I like to think of them as old stories we picked up along the way. Maybe it was that teacher who said you weren't smart enough, or watching your parents struggle with money and absorbing the message that life has to be so hard. For me personally, growing up with constant reminders that, quote, if I had a brain, I'd be dangerous, that really shaped how I saw myself for many, many, many years. It wasn't just words, it was my truth. It affected every single choice, every opportunity, even the jobs I thought I deserved. But here's something powerful that I've learned. These beliefs aren't true. They're not facts. They're just stories we internalized at some point when we were trying to make sense of our own world. And when you start seeing them for what they are, just stories, something shifts. Now, what is one old story you've been carrying around that's ready to be rewritten? There are there are many amazing tools I want to share with you that really changed the game for me. When I started my own spiritual journey, I discovered the power of working with my thoughts in a whole new way. Writing in a journal each day, it started showing me patterns I never noticed before. It was like having conversations with my deeper self, understanding why I thought the way I did. And what helped me really shift things was starting to catch those negative thoughts and questioning them. Like when that old voice would say, you're not good enough, I learned to pause and ask, is this really true? Now I want to share a secret with you. I felt really awkward at first, especially using positive statements about myself. But those tools, they're like building new pathways in your mind. One day at a time, one thought at a time. Now you might be wondering what comes next after we start letting go of those old beliefs. This is where the journey starts to get a little more exciting. Think of it like tending a garden. It's not enough to just pull out the weeds, right? We need to plant new seeds. I spent years hearing that voice saying, if you had a brain, you'd be dangerous. But when I started surrounding myself with people who saw my potential, who reminded me of my gifts, everything started to change. Something beautiful happens when you start believing in possibilities instead of limitations. When you see yourself succeeding, thriving, making an impact, your whole energy changes. And these new beliefs are not just positive thinking, they're choosing to align with your soul's truth, with that part of you who you really are beneath all these old stories. What could you change in your life if you started believing in your unlimited potential? Because believe me, that's the truth. You have unlimited potential. Now I'm going to walk you through something that really opened my eyes. We're going to do this together because seeing your patterns clearly can change everything. Think about something in your life that keeps showing up. Maybe it's feeling overlooked at work, relationships that never quite felt right. For me, it was that pattern of never feeling good enough, always trying to prove my worth. But take a moment and let yourself drift back to the first time you remember feeling that way. Maybe you were a kid like I was, sitting alone at school while others played. Maybe it was later, but that feeling, you know the one. Grab your journal if you have it nearby. We're going to write down what comes up, the feelings, thoughts, and those beliefs that formed. No judging, just noticing. What pattern is ready to be seen and released in your life? Begin by reflecting on your life experiences. Write down any recurring struggles you notice, whether they relate to relationships, work, or personal challenges. This awareness is crucial for the next steps. Now identify the earliest memory you have related to the struggle. Understanding its roots can provide insight into how it has shaped your life and help you address it more effectively. Jot down any beliefs or feelings that you associate with the struggle. This can help clarify how these beliefs influence your current behavior and decisions, and they pave the way for change. Now I'm excited to share some powerful tools that help me shift my own life. Because here's the thing, when you're ready for that change, having the right support makes all the difference, and you don't have to do it alone. One of the biggest game changers for me was learning to pause and really notice what was happening in my mind. Not judging it, just being aware of it. It showed me how often I was running those old patterns without even knowing it. You know, else made a huge difference? Having people in my corner who got it, who understand the journey. Like my best friend who took me in during my darkest time. That kind of support can light the way when you're finding your path. These aren't just techniques, they're lifelines when you're doing this deep inner work. And the most beautiful part is you get to choose what works for you and what resonates with your spirit. What sort of support do you feel would serve you best right now? First is mindfulness and meditation. These techniques can help center your thoughts, reduce stress, and bring awareness to subconscious patterns. Regular practice can lead to profound personal insights and changes. Cognitive behavioral strategies involve identifying and changing negative thought patterns. By reframing negative beliefs, we can alter emotional responses and behaviors and facilitate growth. Having a solid support system is crucial for breaking free from struggles. Professional help, such as coaching or mentoring, can provide guidance, accountability, and tools to navigate personal challenges more effectively. As we wrap up our time together, I want to share something from my heart. This journey of breaking free from our struggles, it's not about being perfect. It's not about never facing challenges again because we're going to. It's part of being human. It's about understanding ourselves deeply and choosing a new way forward no matter what. I remember standing at my own crossroads, feeling stuck in patterns of self doubt and fear. But I took that first step, just being willing to look at why these struggles keep showing up. That changed everything. You have everything you need within you to create the life your soul is calling for. Sometimes we just need someone to remind us of our power, to shine a light on the path ahead. Thank you for allowing me to share this space with you today. Your journey matters. Your healing matters. And your breakthrough is closer than you think.